Audio transcript fragment. Site redacted security feed. Source: Corridor C4, Sector 7. Date: 2033-01-09. Time: 09:14:18. Local clearance Level 2. Officer Miller. Command, we have a visual anomaly in C4. It's the wall, the vent panel. Control, clarify, Miller. Is it a structural failure? No, it's the slats. They're moving. Not the metal, but the space between the metal. It's rippling. Wait, Jesus, look at the floor. The technician, his leg. Miller, report status. His leg is caught in the shadow. No, not the shadow. The barcode. He dropped a box. The barcode's lined up with the vent slats. It's pulling him in. It's tight. Oh God, it's folding me. It's folding my skin. Command requesting immediate. Don't look at the pattern. Kowalski, eyes on the floor. Don't look at the slats. Lockdown initiated. Miller, disrupt the geometry. Do you copy? Disrupt the geometry. With what? It's a vent. It's perfect. It's too perfect. There's a distorted vocalization, wet tearing sound. It's coming through the lines. It's Risa. Internal memo. Archive preface. From Dr. Eris Thorne, Head of Archival Integrity. To O5 Council Ethics Committee. Subject: Procedural Drift and the Pattern Null Initiative. We build our safety on repetition. We build our containment on grids, on reinforced steel mesh, on the predictable reliability of a checklist. Human civilization is an act of imposing order upon chaos. We pave roads in straight lines, we weave fabrics in consistent lattices, we stack data in tables. We assume that order is the opposite of danger. SCP-10001 proves that order is merely a different kind of predator. The file you are about to access details the Foundation's most counterintuitive containment challenge: the Pattern Null Protocol. This is not a creature that hides in the dark, it is an entity that hides in the math. It requires us to unlearn the very architecture of security. To contain it, we must embrace asymmetry. We must reject the grid. The following archive has been assembled to document the catastrophic cost of gratuitous periodicity. You will review the initial discovery at the textile mill, where our obsession with industrial perfection created a slaughterhouse. You will review the engineering challenges of the Pattern Null Wing, and you will review Incident Report 10001 Gamma, where a single moment of laziness, a single stack of barcodes aligned with a vent, cost a life. This is not just a file about a monster. It is an indictment of our design philosophy. We are safe only when we are broken. We are safe only when we are irregular. Proceed with caution. Do not stare at the static. Discovery log. Recovery team Alpha 9. Location: redacted textile finishing facility. Redacted. Date: April 17, 2032. Mission: investigate silence from facility. Local law enforcement reported visual distortion and ceased transmission. Team Lead Alpha. Lead Command Alpha Lead, we have breached the main processing floor. Air quality is heavy. Metallic taste. Smells like ozone and copper. Command visual confirmation. Negative on hostiles. But the layout here, it's dense. This is a high-volume finishing plant. Conveyor belts everywhere, rollers, hundreds of them. Everything is chrome, everything is parallel. It's a hall of mirrors, but for lines. Lead, check the floor. Near the drainage grate, I see it. Command, we have biological residue. It's flat. Clarify flat. I mean, it's two-dimensional. There's a smear of biological matter that looks like it's been pressed into the concrete, but it's not crushed. It's woven. It looks like a tapestry made of muscle tissue. It's following the grid of the drainage grate perfectly. Over here, too. On the intake rollers, I've got a uniform, or what's left of one. It's stretched out along the conveyor belt. It's not just on the belt, Lead. It's in the belt. The fabric of the uniform has been re-indexed into the weave of the conveyor material. Command, how many personnel were on the night shift? 19. I think we're walking on them, the floor tiles. There's a pattern here. Every third tile has a red stripe. The biologicals are only on the red stripes. It's sorted them. Movement, 12 o'clock. High, contact. What is that? It's in the rafters. It's folding out of the support beams. Fire. Short controlled bursts. Bullets aren't hitting. They're passing through. It's flat. It's turning sideways. It's using the trusses. The roof trusses are equidistant. It's jumping between the gaps. Break the pattern. 2, 3, use the charges. Blow the trusses. Setting charges on the north pillar. It's coming down the wall. It's using the brickwork, the mortar lines. It's sliding down the mortar lines like a ladder. It's got Jenkins. Jenkins, get back. It didn't grab him. It unzipped him. Oh God, he's unraveling. It caught his molly webbing. The tactical vest grid. It locked onto the grid and pulled him into the wall. Blow the charges now. Disrupt the geometry. Explosion. Dust is everywhere. I can't see the lines anymore. It stopped. Lead. It stopped. The wall collapsed. The brick pattern is gone. It's just rubble. Is Jenkins? He's part of the drywall now. He's a mural. Autopsy report. Recovered planarized remains. Subject, remains of factory personnel. Pathologist, Dr. Eris Thorne. Date, 2032-04-18. The remains recovered from the textile facility defy standard biological categorization. We are not looking at compression injuries. A hydraulic press crushes cells, it bursts them. SCP-1001 does not crush. It reorganizes. We recovered 19 distinct biological signatures, but 0 volumetric bodies. The victims were found fused to the facility's infrastructure, floors, walls, machinery, specifically adhering to surfaces with high translational symmetry. Microscopic analysis of sample 19. A reveals that the victim's bone structure was not fractured. Instead, the calcium lattice was disassembled and relaid into a hexagonal grid matching the anti-slip texture of the roller surface. The entity did not break the bone. It edited the bone's geometry to fit the local pattern. Most disturbing is the neural tissue found in sample 04. The cortical layers were unspooled. The brain was effectively unfolded into a two-dimensional sheet. Despite this, the neural connections remained intact, merely stretched. We found electrical activity persisting for 4 hours post-recovery. The victim was not dead when they were flattened. They were simply translated. The cause of death in all cases was not trauma, but volumetric failure. Their biology could no longer support three-dimensional function because their coordinates had been rewritten. They died because they became geometry. This entity targets order. The textile mill was a perfect hunting ground, repeating machines, repeating tiles, repeating motions. Our tactical teams made it worse by wearing standard issue gear. Molly webbing on their vests, a perfect 1-inch grid, acted as a handle. We gave the anomaly a door, and it walked right through our soldiers. Recommendation: immediate revision of containment protocols, no grids, no stripes, no repeating vectors. We need to build a chaotic cell. Foundation Engineering Memo. Containment Strategy from Site Redacted Engineering Division to Containment Committee, Project Pattern Null. We cannot put this thing in a box. A box has 6 identical sides. A box has corners. A box is a pattern. If we put SCP-1001 in a standard concrete cell, it will align with the rebar inside the walls and walk out. If we put it in a steel cube, it will use the grain of the brushed metal to anchor itself. We have to build a nightmare. We need a room where no 2 inches are alike. We need floors that slope at random angles. We need walls with stochastic textures, random bumps, random dents, no repeating motifs. We have to banish the straight line. Construction will be difficult. Contractors are trained to build straight. We will need to induce errors. We will need to break their levels and hide their rulers. We are not building a prison. We are building a glitch. SCP-1001. Main file. Special containment procedures. Item number: SCP-1001. Object class: Heater. Current status: Contained provisional. Containment zone parameters. SCP-1001 is not contained by walls, but by the texture of those walls. It is housed within the Pattern Null Wing at Site Redacted, a facility purpose built to eliminate translational symmetry. Standard containment philosophy relies on reinforcement, while Pattern Null philosophy relies on irregularity. Architectural controls. All surfaces within the wing, floors, ceilings, bulkheads must employ aperiodic tiling or stochastic relief textures. Construction teams are prohibited from using leveling tools or plumb lines during maintenance. No repeating vector may exceed 2 identical repetitions along any axis over a distance greater than 0.5 meters. The following architectural features are strictly prohibited within 200 meters of the containment chamber: checkerboard flooring, ventilation grates with evenly spaced slats, chain link fencing, acoustic ceiling tiles with uniform perforations, and exposed brickwork. If a structural crack appears in a wall, it must be immediately widened with a hammer to ensure the fissure does not form a straight line. We do not repair damage, we randomize it. Chamber Protocol. The entity is held in Chamber 10001A. The room is a 9-meter cube, but the interior dimensions vary due to the random depth field applied to the walls. The surface consists of a periodic relief ranging from 2 millimeters to 20 millimeters in depth. Lighting is provided by non-arrayed, diffuse sources to prevent the casting of parallel shadows. A single shadow cast by a chair leg against a tiled floor is sufficient to create an anchor point. Therefore, there are no chairs. Site redacted orientation. Bulletin, material restrictions from the Department of Pattern Safety to all personnel assigned to Wing 10001. Subject, your personal effects are lethal. You are accustomed to standard Foundation sterile environments. You are used to clean lines, organized shelving, and digital precision. In the Pattern Null Wing, these habits will kill you. 1. Documentation. Clipboards, lined paper, and graph paper are contraband. You will not bring them into the wing. A standard sheet of ruled notebook paper contains 32 horizontal lines spaced 8.7 millimeters apart. To SCP-10001, this is not paper. It is a 6-lane highway. All notes must be taken on approved pattern null terminals. 2. Digital displays. Standard LED monitors use a pixel grid. If you display a static white screen, you are projecting a perfect lattice of millions of repeating squares. All monitors in this wing utilize real-time pixel phase jitter. The screen will constantly vibrate and dither stochastically. It will cause eye strain. It will cause nausea. This is intentional. If the image stabilizes, the monitor becomes a breach risk. 3. Uniforms. Standard lab coats are woven. If the thread count is visible at a distance of 1 meter, it is a hazard. Personnel must wear approved solid color, matte finish polymer suits. No knits, no visible stitching, no zippers with repeating teeth. You will look less like researchers and more like hazmat technicians. This is necessary. SCP-1001 Description File. Morphology. Subject, Entity Classification and States. SCP-1001 is a predatory organism of variable morphology. It does not obey Euclidean volume conservation. It manifests in 3 distinct states depending on the local geometry. State I, anchored. This is the entity's fully emerged form. It appears as a 3-dimensional mass of layered, ribbon-like tissue, approximately 3 meters in height. It moves by folding through space, utilizing jointed protrusions that resemble hinges. In this state, it is vulnerable to physical disruption but highly aggressive. State 2, in pattern. This is the primary containment hazard. When SCP-1001 encounters a valid pattern, such as a ventilation grill or a striped tie, it enters State Mod 2. It embeds itself within the pattern. It does not sit on top of the surface. It occupies the negative space between the repeating elements. In State 2, mass distribution is inconsistent. An observer looking at a grate may see the entity's limbs continuing deep beneath the metal, even if the wall behind it is solid concrete. It utilizes the pattern as a topological aperture, effectively hiding in a dimension of pure repetition, designated tessellation space. State 3, collapsed. If the anchor pattern is destroyed, for example, if the grate is dented or the stripes are painted over, the entity collapses into State 3. This is a 2-dimensional residue, a desiccated fibrous material that looks like a dried husk. It is biologically inert, but acts as a seed. If a new pattern is placed over the residue, the entity can reconstitute instantly. Logistics. Log. Pattern audit queue. System. Scanner Station 4, Wing Entrance. Protocol, Form 10001 PA, Mandatory Scanning. Item 4022, Personal Wristwatch, Analog. Scan, result rejected. Reason, watch, banned links exhibit translational symmetry greater than 3 repetitions. Action, confiscated. Item 4023, Coffee Mug Ceramic. Scan, result rejected. Reason, manufacturer logo on base contains a barcode. Action, destroyed. Item 4024, Maintenance Toolkit Standard. Scan result rejected. Reason, grip texture on screwdriver handles is a diamond neural pattern, period 1.2 millimeters. Action, replaced with smooth grip tools. Note, smooth tools are slippery, drop risk increased. Item 4025, Research Notes Tablet. Scan, result, approved. Reason, device running approved stochastic dither firmware. Researcher note, the audit process takes 40 minutes per entry. We are stripping staff of everything that makes work efficient. We are removing grip. We are removing structure. We are removing the ability to organize data. We are inducing human error to prevent anomalous terror. Experiment Log Series 1001 Delta. Subject, determination of minimum periodicity requirements. Lead researcher, Dr. Eris Thorne. Date, 2032-05-12. Once containment was established, the immediate question became one of resolution. How perfect does a pattern need to be to summon the entity? Does a hand-drawn grid count? Does the weave of a canvas sack count? To answer this, we initiated Series Delta, a sequence of exposure tests using D-class personnel and variable geometric stimuli. The results defined the kill box of modern design. Test 10001-D-03. Visual contrast versus physical relief stimulus. D-class subject provided with a shield painted with high-contrast black and white stripes, width 20 millimeters. A second subject provided with a shield featuring the same stripe pattern, but rendered in monochromatic raised relief, white on white, 5 millimeters depth. Result, SCP-10001 ignored the physical relief entirely. It targeted the high-contrast paint. The entity emerged from the painted stripes within 3 seconds. Analysis. The entity prioritizes visual signal strength. A flat surface with a high-contrast pattern, Michelson contrast greater than 0.25, is more dangerous than a textured surface with low contrast. This effectively condemns all printed media. A barcode is safer than a trench, but a black-on-white barcode is a lethal weapon. Test 10001-D-09, Spatial Frequency Band Stimulus, a variable width projection grid displayed on the chamber wall. We adjusted the spacing of the lines from 0.5 millimeters to 500 millimeters to find the sweet spot. Result, at less than 2 millimeters spacing, no reaction. The pattern is too dense. The entity cannot fit between the lines. At greater than 150 millimeters spacing, no reaction. The pattern is too sparse. The entity cannot bridge the gap. Critical range. The entity manifests aggressively between 3 millimeters and 120 millimeters. Implication: this frequency band corresponds almost exactly to the standard dimensions of human industrial design. Ventilation slats, keyboard keys, grip textures, corrugated cardboard, stair treads, they all fall within the 3 millimeters to 120 millimeters range. We have built our civilization inside the entity's feeding bandwidth. Researcher. Note: the shadow variable. From Dr. K. Varma, Senior Analyst. 2. Containment Engineering, Subject, Transient Periodicity, and Lighting Hazards. We have focused heavily on physical objects, removing striped ties, banning grates. We failed to account for the environment itself. During Test D12, the chamber was empty. The walls were stochastic. The floor was uneven, yet the entity manifested. Review of the camera logs revealed the cause. A bank of halogen floodlights had been positioned on a scaffold. The light passed through the safety railing of the catwalk above. The railing cast a shadow on the floor. 5 parallel bars of shadow, spaced 10 centimeters apart. The railing itself was too far away for the entity to reach, but the shadow was on the floor. SCP-1001 anchored to the shadow. It treated the absence of light as a physical structure. It emerged from the darkness of the shadow bars and breached the test perimeter. This changes the architectural requirements. It is not enough to remove patterned objects. We must ensure that the interaction of objects does not create accidental patterns. A stack of chairs is a pattern. A row of parked cars is a pattern. Sunlight filtering through a Venetian blind is a breach event. We are not just fighting matter, we are fighting the geometry of light. Incident report, test chamber cleanup, date June 1st, 2032. Observation, post-test behavioral adaptation. Following the termination of D902, the cleanup crew was delayed by a system error. The chamber remained sealed for 6 hours with the entity and the remains of the subject. Surveillance footage shows that SCP-10001 did not consume the remains. Instead, it used them. The entity spent 4 hours dissecting the subject's rib cage. It removed the ribs, it then arranged the ribs on the floor. It placed them parallel to one another, equal spacing, 40 millimeters apart. It built a ladder out of bone. Once the pattern was constructed, the entity sank into it, vanishing into the floor where no opening existed. This confirms our worst fear. SCP-10001 is not a passive trap. If the environment is too chaotic, it will actively reorganize local debris to create the order it needs to hunt. It is terraforming our facility into a grid. Site-redacted medical log, occupational health. Subject, personnel health assessment, pattern null wing. Reporting officer Dr. J. Liu, Chief of Psychiatry. Date 2032, August 14. The physiological cost of the pattern null environment was underestimated. We designed the wing to be hostile to the entity, but we failed to anticipate how hostile it would be to the human vestibular system. Within 2 weeks of the wing's activation, 85% of assigned staff reported symptoms of a periodic nausea. The human inner ear relies on visual horizons and predictable geometry to orient the body in space. In corridors where the floor slopes randomly and the walls have no vertical plumb line, the brain cannot reconcile visual input with proprioception. It is effectively seasickness on dry land. Staff are constantly off balance. They walk with a wide, staggering gait. Migraines are endemic due to the constant pixel jitter of the monitors. We are asking researchers to perform high-precision work inside a funhouse designed to induce vertigo, but the psychological drift is far more dangerous. We call it geometric dysphoria. Ethics Committee Memo, The Safety Paradox. From Site-Redacted Ethics Liaison. 205 Command. Cognitive Dissonance and Containment Staff. We are observing a critical failure in the human element of containment. The human brain is a pattern recognition engine. It evolved to find the tiger in the grass. It evolved to find the symmetry in a face. When you place a human in an environment devoid of pattern, total stochastic noise, the brain does not accept it. It panics. After 4-hour shifts, researchers begin to hallucinate order. They see grids in the static. They hear rhythms in the white noise. This is pareidolia weaponized against us. The danger is not just that they suffer. The danger is that they try to fix it. We have caught staff unconsciously arranging their lunch trays into perfect squares. We have caught them tapping their pens in 4/4 time. In their desperate, subconscious need for stability, they are manufacturing the very keys that unlock the entity's cage. We are breaking their minds to save their bodies, and in doing so, we are creating a feedback loop where the cure causes the disease. Personnel interview transcript, Case 99, Subject, Researcher Evans, Level 3. Interviewer, Dr. Liu. Date, 2032, November 2nd. Dr. Liu, you were flagged by the monitoring system, Evans. Do you know why? Evans, I was just organizing the desk. You weren't organizing, you were aligning. You took the stylus pens, which are round specifically to prevent stacking, and you used tape to bundle them into a triangle. I couldn't find them. They roll everywhere. The table isn't flat, Lou. Nothing is flat. I put a cup down, it slides. I put a file down, it slides. I just wanted things to stay still. You created a repeating vector. 3 pens, equidistant, bound by tape. That is a prism. That is an anchor. I just wanted it to stop moving. Do you know what it's like in there? It's visual static. It's noise. My eyes can't focus on anything because there are no edges. I feel like I'm dissolving. I needed a line, just one straight line. If you make a line, you die. If I don't make a line, I don't exist. I need to know where the floor ends and the wall begins. Evans, look at your hands. What? You're tapping. Left hand, index, middle, ring. Index, middle, ring. You're drumming a waltz on the table. I didn't hear it. That is a repeating temporal pattern. If the entity was in the room, it could have used the rhythm of your fingers to open a hole in the table. You are unfit for duty. Internal memo. Staffing rotation update. From HR department to sector management. Subject. Mandatory rotation protocols. Effective immediately, shift duration in the pattern null wing is reduced to 3 hours. No personnel may serve consecutive days. We are fighting normalization of deviance. When staff are tired, when they are nauseous, and when they are desperate for order, they stop seeing the danger in a barcode. They stop seeing the threat in a vent. They begin to view the chaotic safety protocols as an annoyance rather than a lifeline. They start cutting corners to make their lives easier, and in this wing, a corner is a lethal weapon. We must rotate them out before they get comfortable. Comfort is the precursor to a breach. We thought we had solved the geometry, but we forgot to account for the logistics. And as Incident Report 1001 Gamma demonstrates, it is always the logistics that kill you. Incident Report 1001 Gamma. Executive Summary. Date January 9th, 2033. Location Corridor C4 zone adjacent to Pattern Null Wing. Event type Containment breach and personnel loss. Clearance Level 4. The history of containment failure is rarely a history of overwhelming force. It is almost always a history of bad timing. We call this the Swiss cheese model of disaster. In any complex system, there are holes in the defense, a missing check here, a tired guard there. Usually these holes are disconnected, but occasionally the layers shift, the holes align, and a straight line opens up directly from safety to catastrophe. On January 9th, 2033, the holes aligned in Corridor C4. The failure began with a logistics technician, Jonathan Miller. Miller was not assigned to the Pattern Null Wing. He was a general supply runner. His manifest listed a delivery of consumable office supplies for the administrative block located 50 meters past the containment zone. The package in his hands was a sealed carton labeled Print Media. Inside were 500 units of commercial packaging for a cover-up operation, cardboard boxes for a front company. Each flat-packed box featured a standard UPC barcode. A barcode is a pattern. A single barcode is negligible. It is too small to anchor a large entity. But these boxes were stacked. 500 barcodes, aligned perfectly in the carton, created a composite block of high-contrast vertical striping. Miller did not enter the containment wing. He walked down Corridor C4, which is designated as a buffer zone. Because it is outside the primary containment ring, Corridor C4 still retains standard building infrastructure. Specifically, it retains wall-mounted VAC ventilation panels. At 9:14 a.m., Miller received a text message. He stopped walking. He leaned against the wall to check his data pad. He rested the carton of barcodes on his knee. By sheer statistical misfortune, he positioned the carton exactly parallel to the ventilation panel behind him. The vent slats were spaced at 11 millimeters. The barcodes were spaced at 1.3 millimeters. When Miller leaned back, the two patterns overlapped. In optics, this is known as a Moiré interference pattern. The interaction of the two grids created a third, virtual pattern, a low-frequency beat pattern that rippled visually as Miller shifted his weight. He did not open a door. He accidentally built a complexity lock, and the entity turned the key. Security video transcript, Corridor C4, timestamp 9:14:23. Subject, breach event, 9:14:23. Technician Miller is stationary. The air around the ventilation panel begins to distort. It does not look like smoke, it looks like a video codec error. The space between the metal slats expands. 9:14:26. SCP-1001 enters State 2. It does not emerge from the vent, it emerges from the alignment. It manifests as a translucent, folding structure connecting the barcodes to the vent slats. It bridges the gap between the box and the wall. 9:14:29. Technician Miller looks down. He attempts to drop the box. He cannot. The entity has anchored the box to his torso. The ribbons of the entity wrap around his left leg and the vent grill. 9:14:32. Technician Miller screams. The entity retracts. It attempts to pull Miller into the vent. The vent is only 40 centimeters wide. Miller is 1.8 meters tall. 9:14:35. The entity does not stop pulling. It initiates planarization. Miller's left leg loses volumetric integrity. It flattens. It looks like a pant leg being ironed, but the leg is still inside. The tissue is re-indexed to match the 11 millimeter spacing of the vent slats. He is being spooled into the HVAC system like a ribbon. 9:14:40. Protocol loom break initiated. Post-action review, disruption team response. The response to a pattern null breach is counterintuitive. In a standard breach, security teams arrive with rifles to suppress the target. In a pattern null breach, shooting is useless. A bullet is a small object moving in a straight line. To the entity, it is just another piece of geometry. The disruption team arrived at 9:16. They were not carrying guns. They were carrying sledgehammers, crowbars, and irregular impact tools. Their objective was not to kill the monster. Their objective was to destroy the architecture. The team leader, Agent Kovic, immediately identified the anchor point. He did not attack the entity wrapping around Miller's chest. He attacked the wall. He swung a sledgehammer into the ventilation panel, caving in the metal slats. The moment the slats were bent, the moment the parallel lines were broken, the anchor collapsed. The geometry failed. SCP-1001 instantly lost its grip on our dimension. It shriveled into State 3 residue, dropping to the floor as a pile of desiccated fibers. The breach lasted 43 seconds. Technician Miller was pronounced dead on the scene. His left side had been compressed into a sheet of biological laminate approximately 1.4 meters square, fused to the remnants of the vent. The tragedy of Incident Gamma is not that the containment failed. It is that the containment worked perfectly inside the wing, but we failed to respect the geometry outside of it. We allowed a delivery of stripes to walk past a wall of slats. We allowed the mundane infrastructure of a hallway to become a summoning circle. Immediate administrative action was taken. Print media is now classified as a hazardous material. It must be transported in opaque, non-rectangular containers. And Corridor C4, along with every corridor within 500 meters of the wing, was stripped. We tore out the vents. We tore out the tiled floors. We stripped the facility down to rough concrete. We learned that day that you cannot contain the entity in a room if the hallway leading to it is built out of the same patterns the entity eats. Safety is not a place. Safety is a texture. Updated containment summary. Year 2034, from Site Command 205 Council. Subject, the evolution of the threat. We have stabilized the pattern null wing, but the definition of containment is shifting under our feet. The entity is evolving. The most terrifying update to the file isn't about what the creature does to us, but what it does to the room. We call it propagation behavior. In the early days, we assumed SCP-10001 was an opportunist, a trapdoor spider that waited for a grate or a stripe to appear. That assumption is dead. Surveillance logs from Chamber A show the entity is no longer passive. It is actively farming the environment. It takes the dust, the debris, the exfoliated skin cells of the maintenance crew, and it arranges them. It pushes the chaos into order. It is trying to build a ladder of geometry out of dust motes. It understands that if we won't give it a pattern, it must construct one. This realization triggered the O5 Council to issue Directive 10001 Omega. This is a quiet, massive infrastructure project to eliminate gratuitous periodicity across all Foundation sites. Consider the scale of that order. We are ripping out millions of ventilation slats. We are melting down miles of chain link fences. We are sanding down brick walls to remove the mortar lines. We are spending billions to make our facilities look broken, unfinished, and ugly, because ugly is the only thing that is safe. We are effectively undesigning our own architecture. But the irony goes deeper. The Records and Information Security Administration, RAISA, has flagged a critical hazard in the very file you are reading. How do you document a creature that hunts patterns using a standardized report format? Look at a block of text. It has justified margins, straight lines on the left and right. The letters are aligned in rows. The pixels that render these words are a perfect grid. Even the standard font kerning creates a subtle rhythm. We are discovering that the act of bureaucracy itself, the act of organizing information into lines and lists, might be creating a micro-topology that the entity can use. We are fighting a war against the alphabet. We are realizing that to truly contain the anomaly, we might have to stop writing about it entirely. RAIS. A closure note. System alert. Status: file archived. Warning: metadata corruption detected. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a paradox. In every other aspect of human existence, consistency is a virtue. We build our world on the reliability of the grid. We trust the repetition of the clock, the symmetry of the building, the weave of the cloth. But in the context of pattern null, consistency is a death sentence. As we close this file, I want you to perform your own audit. Take a moment, look away from the screen, look at the floor beneath your feet. Is it tiled? Look at the blinds on your window. Are the shadows parallel? Look at the fabric of your sleeves. Can you count the threads? You are sitting inside a machine made of repetition. You are surrounded by millions of potential doors, all locked by nothing more than the entity's lack of attention. We tell ourselves that civilization is a fortress of order, but SCP-10001 proves that order is just a different kind of wilderness. And the things that live in the geometry are hungry. RAIS. A. System alert. Metadata integrity failure. Footer text exhibits recursive looping. Repeating character string detected in the exit protocol. Do not focus on the blinking cursor. End of archive.